Guys, welcome back to another Bitcoin video. We've got a very important video today. We're answering two very big questions, okay? Question one, when will Bitcoin get back to a new all-time high? Question two, when will Bitcoin get back above 28.6K? There's a reason why I chose that second level, 28.6K. It may seem oddly precise. There's a reason for that, but ultimately those are the two questions. When will it get back above new all-time high, and when will it get back above 28.6K? In addition to this, we're going to be looking at the shorter term price action. We're going to be looking at the intense compression we're seeing, the second lowest amount of volatility we've seen since June 2020, and that's an indication of a major move that will be coming before January 9th that we've looked at in a video 2 days ago. Before we get into anything though, 30% discount on all VIP memberships until January 1st. Crypto Academy courses, you can learn how to trade there, link in the description, and free Telegram community discussion group, link in the description. Check all of those things out, guys. Let's get into the video. Before we even get into the main topic, just noting here, just doing a quick note. Bitcoin's compressing very tightly. We haven't seen Bollinger Bands this tight other than what we saw here briefly in October where you saw intense compression on Bollinger Bands. We haven't seen them this tight since 2020. Again, so this is the second lowest period of volatility we've seen on Bitcoin since 2020, since before the bull market, as you can see all the way back here in June, July 2020. So Bitcoin, yeah, incredibly low volatility right now, but obviously Bollinger Bands compression does generally mean a move is on the way shortly. There's only such a long period of time you can see that low volatility before you see a dramatic move. And I would assume that that's because Christmas is coming up. People aren't really looking at the markets and they're spending all their money on gifts and things like that and holidays. They don't really have time to buy Bitcoin or don't really have the funds to buy Bitcoin. And obviously recession's ramping up as well. So, that low volatility, in conjunction with that, we're seeing descending volume. Very clear downtrend on the volume. When you see a downtrend on the volume and sideways price action, it means a big move is coming, and that's reflected in the Bollinger Band. So I would be expecting a very dramatic move on Bitcoin very shortly. I'm thinking within a week. And this kind of lines up very well with what we've discussed in previous videos in the past. And you can check this out. Did a video 2 days ago on it. January 9th. We're going to be making a directional decision on Bitcoin before January 9th. I'm not going to get into how I came to that conclusion in this video. You can check out the video 2 days ago. It's basically using the weekly RSI and also using a macro 8-year uptrending support line on Bitcoin to decide to kind of come to the conclusion that we're going to be seeing a move either above this yellow line and hence breaking the downwards trend, or below 15.4K and hence going to new lows before January 9th. So we really are on a ticking clock here, and Bitcoin will not be going sideways forever. That's very much worth noting. And with that said, I will say one more thing. Total cryptocurrency market cap is on support on the weekly chart. It's on support just barely, this pink line stemming from 2017, 2018, all-time high. And that means that Bitcoin is very much on a knife's edge. And when it's on a knife's edge, it means it's at a crossroads, has to go up or down, right? And again, that will be happening very shortly, as I said, before January 9th. So that's kind of an overview of the short term and what's kind of relevant there for the medium term and short term. Now we can get into the main topic of the video. I want to briefly interrupt this video to talk about the BitGet Exchange. The BitGet Exchange has 5 times lower fees than Binance, which is the biggest major exchange in the cryptocurrency market on futures. It also has 0 fees on every single spot pair, so you can trade spot for entirely free, no fees included. It runs events. Right now it's got a FIFA World Cup event sponsored by Messi, the football player. It's got copy trading, strategy trading. It's got exclusive rewards and discounts in the rewards center. It's got everything you need for a trader using an exchange. This is the exchange I personally use as a trader for my everyday trading, and I highly recommend everyone does so at the Wolves of Crypto YouTube channel. Sign up using my referral link for exclusive rewards and discounts. That really helps out the channel, and I appreciate it. For my fans from the United States of America, you can sign up using this exchange with a VPN and use the exchange with a VPN and just sign up using my referral link like normal, and you'll be treated like a normal customer because this is also a non-KYC exchange. So make sure to sign up using my referral link in the pinned comment or the description below, and without further ado, let's get back into the video. So here is a fresh Bitcoin chart on a macro scale, okay? So we're going to go ahead and bring up some lines that I just deleted, and I'm going to run you through what I'm looking at here. When Bitcoin will get back above 28.6K according to the data. Okay, so let's bring up a few lines. Here we go. First batch of lines in the 2014 cycle. We have a yellow horizontal line. This is what I personally call, the horizontal bull market support line and the horizontal bear market resistance line. As you can see, if we zoom in, you can see quite clearly here in 2014. This line was held throughout the entirety of the bull market, retested on multiple occasions. When we finally lost it, it was acting as very, very strong resistance. We have a variety of measurements here. We have a measurement of 86%, a negative 86% gain. I guess you could say an 86% decrease in price valuation from top to bottom, right? And then we have a 52% price decrease from the break of that horizontal line to the bottom. Okay, so this is relevant. We'll bring up other cycles here and we can see how this data kind of reflects. We also have 1,134 days from the all-time high to when the all-time high was reached again in the future. Okay, and on top of this, we have this orange line here, which is 315 days from the break of the yellow line to getting back above the yellow line. This is all going to make sense in a second. We have this same set of data, okay? Same set of measurements in the next two cycles, okay? So here we have it, right? Same thing. 2018, horizontal line, we have 84% loss from top to bottom. We have a 45% loss from a loss of that horizontal line to the bottom. We have a 1,085 days from the all-time high to a break of the all-time high in the future. And then we have 175 days from a breakdown below that horizontal line to a break back above it. The only real difference here, the only real difference between the 2014 cycle and the 2018 cycle, rarely, I mean, all this data is very, very, very similar, which does play into cyclical theory, and this is why we can make assumptions like I'm going to make in a second. The only real difference is the amount of time between a break of the horizontal line and a break back above it, right? In 2018, we saw 175 days, while in 2014, we saw a much longer 315 days, okay? So that's the only real difference. In terms of other pieces of, data, we've got 80% loss, same thing. 45% loss was 52 in 2014, basically same thing. We have the horizontal line, same thing there as well. And 1,085 days is very similar to 1,134 days from all-time high to when it was tested again in the future. So pretty much the exact same thing happened. We had that horizontal line, same set of data, only a very slight deviation in terms of the actual data samples themselves, and that's to be expected because it is different market cycles, although very similar. And so we have a trend here. We have a trend forming. This has happened on 2 occasions now. Now, obviously, you need 3 occasions for a trend to be formed, and that's why it's a speculative trend. It's not something we can overly rely on. But we can go ahead and look at what's going on here, okay? And what we are seeing in this cycle is a very similar horizontal line being formed. We also saw at this point a very similar loss, right? It was 86% loss in 2014. It was an 84% loss in 2018. We've seen a 77% loss in 2021, okay? Very similar percentages. And this is even more compelling here. We've seen the exact same percentage decrease from a breakdown of that horizontal line to the current low that we saw in 2018. We've seen a 45.7% loss, exactly the same, and that's very similar to 2014's as well. On top of this, at this point in time, that's kind of all we can look at really, because nothing else has really played out. But what we can do now, right? What we can do now is we can go ahead and say, okay, well, let's look at the data from these 2 previous occasions. Yes, it's not enough to form a solid trend, but it is enough to do some speculation. We can start taking some samples here and moving them across. Okay, so what we can do, for example, from the green measurement here, which is all-time high to when the all-time high was tested again, I've taken the number in between 1,134 days, which was 2015, and 1,085 days, which was 2018, and I've applied that here, and we can see that based on that speculative measurement, we should be getting it back above the Bitcoin all-time high in around November 2024. So around November 2024, Bitcoin will be at 68K, which is what the all-time high was, according to this data. Now, it's speculative data, but it is worth noting, okay? We can also go ahead, and that's probably the most accurate thing we can measure here, right? Back above 68K, back new all-time high in November 2024, okay? That's the most accurate thing we can measure here. Now, this stuff we're getting into here is getting quite speculative, but we can look at it anyway, right? We can go ahead and say, okay, well, it took 315 days from the breakdown of a horizontal line to a break back above it in 2015. It took 175 in 2018. That's a pretty big deviation. We can't really form much of a trend there, but we can go ahead and say, okay, well, what if it takes 315 days again? Just to get a very, very, very rough estimate, right? What if it takes the longer one? What if it takes 315 days again? And we can see that 315 days from a breakdown of a horizontal line leaves us at around April 2023, meaning that in April 2023, we'll be breaking back above 28.6k according to this very, very, very speculative trend. Now, we can even go a step further, and people might say that's too soon, and I'd probably agree with you. And we can even go a step further and say, well, it could actually be more than 315 days, right? Because we saw such a big deviation between these two periods of time. Why can't we see a further deviation? Why can't it extend further, just like it did in these periods of time? So we can go ahead and take the difference between 315 and 175, which is a 140-day difference, and we can add 140 days to 315, and we can, so that's basically saying we're seeing the same amount of extension that we saw in the past, and that would bring us to 455. And with that set of data, again, this is very speculative, we'd be getting back above 28.6k in September 2023. So I've taken quite a few pieces of data here. They're all very speculative. I want to know this is not something you can run to the bank with. It is to give you a rough indication of what's going to happen if the market cycle is followed. And that relies quite a bit on the 4-year cycle. But what it basically says at this point in time is that we'll get it back above the all-time high on Bitcoin. We'll get back into new all-time high territory in November 2024, and we'll get back above 28.6k in September 2023. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.